Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Look. Hey y'all, happy Sunday. Welcome to So Good. And the goal today is to stay off of the demerit list. I thought I get strikes. Kristen gets demerits, I get strikes. What the heck is a strike anyway? What what is a strike? I don't even know what a strike is. I have no idea. But hey, y'all, welcome to So Good. If this is your first time here, I'm Patrice. This is Craftable Things. This is Delonda Patrice of Crafting with Delonda. A link is listed below to Delonda's channel. Every weekend, we host So Good. Generally, it's live. Occasionally, we'll do a pre recorded So Good video if our schedules don't allow us to go live. But we are on every weekend on either my channel or on Crafting with Delonda's channel. So definitely head over there. Make sure you click subscribe. Make sure your notifications are on so that you are notified when we go live. Now, sometimes we go live on Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays. Sometimes we go live earlier in the day. Sometimes we go live later in the evening. It just depends. It depends on what we have going on. But hey, everyone. Hope you all are having a great weekend. So, y'all, we finally started our Facebook group, So Good Stitches. And hopefully you guys will join us. I don't have a link listed in the description, which I should have, but I do have a link listed in the description to a file that we're going to be using today. Well, we're not using the file today. Today we're talking about stabilizers. And so I just created, we have a stabilizer reference guide, very basic for beginners so that you can understand a little bit about stabilizers. And we have that listed inside of our Facebook group. And so there is a link listed above at the top for you to click into it and also in the description. And it will take you to our Facebook group and to that file if you would like to download it. Okay, if you are experienced, you may not need something like that. But if you are new, then it should be super duper helpful. And Delonda is also being a moderator today. She listed the Facebook group link. She's being moderator D. She listed the Facebook group inside of the chat. But hey, everybody, let's see who is here. And for those of you who have already joined, thank you so much for joining. I will try to check and see if I have to approve you in, so that you can download the file. But hey, it was a lot of y'all here. Oh, Victoria's Creations was here at 1:56 this afternoon. Girl, you were here super duper early. Hey, Dempsey Boo, Rachel, Rosetta. Rachel was here early too. Everybody was here early. Kevin, Miss Sandra, Louise. Hey, everyone. Welcome in. Hey, Miss Sharon Davenport, Jennifer Ricci, Nikki A, Michelle Green, Creative Notions, Nafisa, Penny. There's a lot of y'all here. So I'm not going to be stitching out anything today. I turned the crafter hood design into, I digitized it, but I also want to make it into a patch. I haven't finished the patch yet, but we're just going to be talking a little bit about stabilizer and the importance of stabilizer with embroidery. There's a lot of us who are new to, there's a lot of us who are new to embroidery, or some of us who have been in embroidery for a while. Some of us who are just unboxing machines. I see a lot of people saying like, I'm dusting my machine off, or somebody, I can't remember who said it in the group already, that they had their machine for 2 years and they're just unboxing it. So a lot of people are now taking the leap towards embroidery. So we're happy to know that. If we have any new embroiderers here, please let us know. And the Facebook group, another thing about the Facebook group, and I just want to let you guys know, it's strictly for all of us stitches. Okay? That's what it's for. It's not going to be for sublimation. It's not going to be for DTF. It's not going to be for vinyl cutting. It's not going to be only way vinyl cutting if we're doing like an applique or something like that. And that's the question for applique. But we're not really focused because both Delonda has her own group on Facebook. I have my own group on Facebook, and we kind of talk about all the other things in those groups. But we kind of want this to really, really be focused on embroidery for anybody who's new or experienced. They can come there for help or they can come to help. Okay, so we want to really, really make sure that it is for embroidery. It can also be used for sewing. Okay, that's our mindset. We want it to be all about all the stitchy stuff. If that is stitchy a word, I don't know. I just said it.
And neither is sunt. Just want to put that out there.
Oh, who sent something? Who sent you something? Who sent it? But hey, everyone. Hey, Niall. Hey, Meredith. And Barb. So Barb also, let me just let you guys know, already in the group, people are contributing to the purpose of the group. And I love that. So Barb also shared a link for more stabilizer information as like it's specific to like certain fabrics and things like that. So I would definitely look at that too. So thanks, Barb. Shay, Jesse. A lot of you guys joined. Hey, Robinus and Anna. Why do I keep hearing something? Oh, I keep hearing something because my volume is not down on my laptop. All right, Kelly. All right, I see all you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm scrolling all the way down to the bottom. Hey, Aunt Wanda. Piggy's mama, welcome. Thank you for being here. Piggy's mama, do you do embroidery? Aunt Wanda says she's a new beginner. Thank you, Diane. I'm one comfy chick. That's what Delonda called me one time, and so I had to make a shirt out of it. I had to make a shirt out of one comfy chick. Shay said this. Shay, you are not new. You are a pretend beginner. So hopefully we will continue, like when we have files, either in the Google Drive or the files will be listed in the Facebook group so that you can go there and get it, and we can kind of keep everything in one place. That's what we want to try our hardest to do, is to keep everything in one place. Hey, Risa, Kim, I scrolled down and I saw a few of you guys. Hey, Marta. All right, y'all. Okay. Piggy's mama just got started with embroidery. Awesome. Congratulations. What machine do you have? Hey, Renee. Thank you. Cynthia Edwards is a newbie with single needle embroidery SE600. Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, we want to kind of keep it. We want the group to really be about embroidery. So Valerie Evans, she's new, received her machine a week ago, haven't unopened it yet. It's a pull-in. Awesome, Valerie. Which pull-in did you get, the EO5 or the EO6? Which one did you get? If anybody's getting the pull-in, I would definitely recommend. So the EO5, you may think that it's going to be kind of large because it says like it's a 4x9 or something like that, 9.25. But definitely go with the EO6 because you're still going to be limited to like 4 inches of space, width or height. So, all right. So let's. Okay. Oh. So Shay, y'all have the same machine. Ooh. Hey, Radiant Rose. Radiant Rose says she's a baby beginner. Hey, Sam. Sam, what time is it over there? Okay. I'm just trying to get. Okay, Piggy's mama has a brother in Q1700. Nice. So that's the beauty about our Facebook group. It's for any type of embroidery machines. It's not, when we do So Good, we generally use the Racoma Marquis 2001, but the Facebook group it's for any type of machine. Okay, so it's not just multi needles or anything like that. It's for it all. Oh, 2155 in the UK. Hey, Annette. All right, so we're going to be talking about stabilizer and the importance of stabilizers. So, does anybody have like a hard time with stabilizers? When you get into embroidery, and if you are new to embroidery, or if you're here because you're curious about embroidery and you want to get into embroidery, stabilizer is a must. Okay, you have to have stabilizer for embroidery. I know sometimes you may not know all the things that you need, and we have a video, a live that we did before about all the different things that you need for embroidery. But stabilizer is a must, and knowing the correct stabilizer is imperative to your project. Okay, so you need to know the stabilizer that you have. So we're gonna go over a few things, like just what is stabilizer. So stabilizer is a material that's used in machine embroidery, and it's used to make sure that your fabric or material, whatever you're using, is nice and secure and stable. That way, when that machine with embroidery, Delana, what's the largest file that you've ever stitched?
10.7 by maybe 6.
10.7 by about 6. Do you know how many stitches within that one?
Let me look.
Pretty sure a lot.
I'm sorry, that's loud.
No, it's not that loud. I stitched a file that was like 120,000 stitches before. That is a lot of punctures to that fabric. Okay, so the stabilizer, I mean, the name is stabilizer. So it is to stabilize your fabric. It holds the fabric in place in the embroidery hoop. And what it does is it prevents it from puckering, and it prevents it from stretching. Okay, it prevents it from puckering and stretching. Barb. Okay, so Barb's stabilizer can be overwhelming. Stabilizers have come a long way since I started embroidery many years ago. Stabilizers can be very, very, very overwhelming because there's multiple types of stabilizers. We're going to go over a few of those just to give you an idea of when to use it, what they're used for. But just hooping your stabilizer is super important. It's as important as the type of stabilizer that you're choosing. Hooping it is just as important, okay? Because that could make or break your project. And if you're making a shirt or something, that could ruin your shirt if it's not hooped correctly. So what happened?
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay. No. So you want to make sure that your stabilizer is hooped correctly. Hey, Kristen. There's stabilizer versus interfaces. What really is the difference? So with interfacing, I guess so what I did see, Kristen, is that it's kind of maybe like a poly mesh, like a fusible poly mesh, kind of similar. Like the interfacing, I think, is very similar to like a fusible poly mesh. So maybe just the material type, that may be it. That's different than a cutaway stabilizer. I don't think it's a silly question. I think it may just be the type of material. Like maybe the interfacing is a different material than the stabilizer, but they do have like the poly mesh. The poly mesh, I feel like the poly mesh, and like the one is fusible, like it has like a adhesive on the back. It has the glue that's heat activated on the back of one side of this fusible poly mesh, and then I have this regular poly mesh. And I think the difference with this, the material is definitely different than the interfacing. So maybe if Barb can help us out, if she knows like what's a big difference between the interfacing. But that's not really sure. Different ones have trouble with puckering. So Kathy, so your stabilizer, there's a few characteristics of stabilizer that you need to know depending on the types of stabilizer that you use. So some stabilizers will be used for backing, meaning when you hoop it, it's going to go underneath the material, the fabric, and then you have some stabilizers that are called toppers. Now you always kind of want to have that one underneath, but then you may have a stabilizer that's a topper that's going to go on top of the material. So you can have one that's a backer or one that's a topper. We'll go a little bit more into the difference between the two and when you would use a topper. Not, and I wouldn't say a topper versus a backer. I would just say you would use a backing and also a topper. For some cases, they also come in different weights. So you have like lightweight, medium weight, heavyweight. So depending on your material, it's not like you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to buy a stabilizer and I'm going to buy this cutaway stabilizer and use it for everything. That's not necessarily what you want to do. You may give yourself a little bit of a headache by doing that. So you do need to have like various weights, which is the lightweight, medium, and heavyweight. And then it comes, some stabilizer comes in different colors. Like I usually have like the white or the black. It comes in different colors. So those are like a few, variations of what you would look for in your stabilizer. Let me see if we have anybody said anything. Hey, Ernie, Miss Merlinda, Nicole.
So do you want to kind of talk about like start with cutaway and then move down? When I just looked at the difference between interfacing and stabilizer, it said that interfacing is used to like add more body to fabric. So like in a collar, in cuffs, and in what else did it say? In waistbands.
Fabric.
It's like it's adding more body to the fabric. Stabilizer is keeping the fabric stable.
Yeah.
I have never had trouble with puckering with this cutaway that I have. The white one.
The white one, which works good for you.
Yeah.
This
is almost finished.
Okay.
It looks so good. It's just a belly shirt. I mean, belly sweatshirt.
Sweatshirt. So Barb added a little bit. Stabilizer is stiffer and provides more structure, unlike interfacing. It is meant to be removed from your project. Thanks, Barb. And sewing. So one's for sewing and the other's for embroidery. Nice, 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 nice. So Stacy said she just embroidered a design with 60,000 stitches. It could have been tighter in the hoop. Or fibromyalgia was in flare up in my hands. Oh no. That's Stacy. What kind of machine do you have? Like that's when I honestly I prefer to just go ahead and use my mighty hoop. Oh, that looks good. I like it.
It's just too low. Look at this. The collar is all the way up here.
Oh.
You know who was still you know who was still wearing this?
Who?
Morgan.
He would still wear it.
What
I got a suggestion.
What?
Maybe stitch the word always above believe in God. Like just do like maybe like a script, like above it, and then that would reduce some of the space.
Think I should do it in white?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would look good. I think because that would that would kind of, give you a little bit of room. That would give you a little bit of room.
It's my first time stitching this one out.
It looks good.
Thank you.
All right. So, hey, Marta. So Marta said that interfacing is a fabric that is sewn or fused to the inside of clothing to add structure, shape, and support. Yep. Thank you, Marta. All right. Should you spray and bond quilt basting adhesive on stabilizer? I don't usually do it.
I don't.
Because it's gonna, you're going to cut it away. Like if you're doing cutaway. So the stabilizers are, you have cutaway, you have tear away, and you have water soluble. Like those are the three main types of stabilizers. And they all pretty much tell you what you're going to do in the name, right? So you have your cutaway stabilizer. So to remove that, you're going to cut it away, cut it around your design. Your tear away, you're going to tear it away from the design. And the water soluble, you're going to use water to dissolve that stabilizer. So that is the difference. But when you choose a stabilizer, it depends on the fabric and the material that you're going to be using, but also the design that you're using as well. Because when you have, like I asked Alonda, like, you know, what was the largest design you've done, like with the most stitches, and then that will determine, you know, the stabilizer that you use too, the amount of stitches that you have, how dense your design is.
So that the biggest one I've done is actually 10.5 by 10.5. The Sisters Who Read, that's big, and it's 75,000 stitches.
75,000. Oh. So cutaway, Marta said cutaway is the most used on knit fabrics. Yes, it's most used on knit fabrics. Rosalind, it was on her belly. Kathy said that she loves the design. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Joy said the design is great.
So that design is already on. It's in my Etsy shop. It's just smaller. I resized it. That's 10.7 by 5.5. But the one that's on Etsy is like 6 something. It's small.
Made it bigger.
I wanted it bigger.
Very nice. Kristen said it leaves room for a statement necklace.
What's the statement? It's the design is on your belly.
Okay. Let's see. Topper when you have high pile fabric, like a towel or minky fabric, and don't want the embroidery to get lost in the pile. Exactly. So that's like your velour, your terry material, stuff like that. For towels, when you're doing your towels, you want to put a topper on top of there, like a water soluble stabilizer. Now, one stabilizer, so we kind of talked a little bit already about the stabilizers. So we have the cutaway stabilizers, and those, again, you're cutting away your material, but you need to place it on. Again, hooping is very important. That's honestly why I like the Mighty Hoops, because it's very hard for me to hoop otherwise. And that is the cutaway stabilizer. So you can't tear it. It's, you know, but remember, it comes in 3 different weights. So when you have heavier garments, you're going to use the heavier stabilizer. Lighter garments, you use the lightweight. And then the medium weight, I generally use the medium weight for almost everything, but the stabilizer is important. See, and she has, and I do have a reminder to label your stabilizer. So if you got the file that's inside of the Facebook group, you can keep notes at the end, but there is a reminder for you to label your stabilizer. So you want to label whether it's cutaway or tearaway or water soluble. You also want to make sure you put the weight on it so that you'll know the weight of your stabilizer, so that you'll know when to use it and when not, you know, what to use it for. So, and like how Delonda, and also the size of your stabilizer. So it looks like she has one that maybe, what's that, 12 inches?
Yeah, this is 12 inches and this is 15 inches. 15. I use this one the most.
Because, so if you're, depending on your hoop, again, your stabilizer is going to be a little bit larger than your hoop. And if you're using a larger hoop, the 12-inch stabilizer isn't really going to do it for you. Okay, so she has the 15-inch wide stabilizer.
So yeah,
she covers her hoop.
Yeah, so these are my 12-inch, and I have the black and the white in the 12-inch, and then I have the black and the white in the 15-inch.
So Risa,
on the description, Risa, I get mine from Amazon.
Yeah, it'll tell
you. It'll tell you the weight.
And even on the packaging, when you first get it, it should tell you. The problem is like when you remove the packaging. So just create a label to put on there, and then that will help you.
See how it tells you how many ounces?
Mm.
If you
Yep.
are subscribed to my email, I sent out an email that I tried to be comprehensive. I shared all of my favorite stabilizers, bobbin, thread, everything. I shared everything. I shared the links to So Good. I shared things that Matrice and I wish we had known. Um, I shared a lot of information in that newsletter, in that email. So if you didn't get a chance to read it, you might want to go read it.
Do you want to drop the link to the newsletter to sign up for it? So that
Uh,
way, in case we have somebody who hasn't signed up for it, we get new people all the time, like literally all the time. Hey, Stacy. Let's see if there's any more questions. Packaging. Okay, looks good. So there are different weights of stabilizer for both. So both the cutaway and the tearaway both have the same lightweight, medium weight, and heavyweight stabilizers. Okay, so you just need to know what material you're going to be using it for, and that will help you decide which weight you need. Also, the design as well. Okay, because remember that needle is kind of rough when it's going, it's just stitching. So you want to make sure you have something that can withstand the design. Thanks, Barb. Hey, Sean. What did Stacy say? Stacy, are you having a hard time? It will definitely get better. Don't worry. Just keep practicing.
Thank you, Meredith. I can see the chat. um, mm,
Nice. So Rachel has a good suggestion here too. I think Barb may have said that she has a sample. She has a book with all like a sample of all of her stabilizers in it, so that she'll know. If she uses that reference guide, that's a good idea. Our package says,
so if I was taking notes today, because I don't know how everybody takes notes differently. My mind is very linear. It is very, very linear. And so that's how I process things, that's how I see things better, that's how I understand things. But if if it was me and I was taking notes today, my notes would say like stabilizer 101, right? And then I would have like a chart, and it would be like type of stabilizer. Then I would have like another column right here, and then I would uh, put like what is it used for? So use for, and then I would put examples. Okay, so like we just talked about cutaway, and it's on the document. But if you want to write your notes, so like cutaway,
mm-hmm,
what would you use cutaway on?
mm-hmm.
I'm asking.
Oh, you're gonna use it
You
on
use it. I use it on hoodies. I use it on sweatshirts. Okay, so I would do this like hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts.
clothes. Yeah,
Okay,
nice.
whatever your garment is. Okay, you could just say garments. You can be specific, or you be specific like the ocean. You can be general. Like you can do it however you want to do it. Whatever makes the most sense to you. Some people like to write it all out because Garments could be anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, really no. Okay. So then we would go down to the next type of stabilizer, and you might even put like what weight would you use? Now, all of mine, I have not purchased various weights of stabilizer. I think all of my cutaway is 2.5.
So that's
And if I
medium,
if I didn't, if it's not 2.5, it's 3.0.
and that's heavy. So the 2.5 is medium. I saw that Risa had a question. So if it's 2.5, that's medium. 3.0 is the heavy weight stabilizer, and the 2.0 is the light.
And so, like this one right here, this black stabilizer, I didn't add that anywhere in my email or in my list, my Amazon favorites. I do have a Amazon favorites list. Is based on things that I've purchased and repurchased multiple times. And this is nowhere in there. I like it. I don't love it. And I only share the things I love. When I'm using this, even though it's cutaway stabilizer and it's supposed to be exactly like this, I always use two sheets. I'll cut two pieces, where with this, I only use one. Okay, so I don't know why it's not as heavy to me, but it just, and it might be in my imagination. It might not even be a real thing. Like this might be Santa. You know what I mean? Like this might not like this, like it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done that before too. Okay, so just label how you label, put the weight, do it how you do it. But I do think it's important to label all of it.
Yes, it's very important.
So the sweatshirt that I just made has cutaway stabilizer in it.
Mm-hmm. Something soft. So like tender touch, maybe Brandy. Sometimes like I'll cover if like once it's done, I'll use tender touch. But then there's also other cutaway stabilizers that you could use. So they have the mesh stabilizer that you can use and the fusible mesh. So both of those are like this is like a lot softer than it's not like the tender touch. The tender touch is very very kind of like a sheer, very like silky feeling to it that you want to use when you're using, especially when you're making garments for kids. But that's not a stabilizer. But this
This is
mesh, yep, that's the tender touch. And so you apply it after you're done. That's the tender touch, which feels good. It's just
the only thing I don't like about this is you can, and maybe it doesn't matter, but I can't tell like what's the right side.
because the one side is a little more rough. One side is very smooth, and the other side is the rough side. See if you can feel it. See if you can feel the difference
I
now.
never feel it. I try, and so then I was like, I'm not even buying this anymore because I can't tell. So I bought this one to try it. But here's another thing: if I'm making something for myself, I don't even use this because it doesn't bother me. I think I
Yeah.
might have alligator skin, but don't worry about my skin. Worry about your skin. Okay. So I bought this one, but I never even opened it. It's called Hey 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 Hey. I don't even know what it's called. Why did I get it? Oh, Hey Up. Hey Up.
Yep.
So I never tried it. But let me see. I've never been able to tell the difference. You know how I know? After I iron it and it's not stuck?
And then
No, Patrice. They feel the same. Oh, it
both
does. This
see
is
one,
rough.
yeah, one side is rough and the other side is more smooth. The rough side is the side with the adhesive on it.
Ay,
One side is a little rough.
okay. Yeah,
At
okay.
first, you probably can't tell if you don't, really know which, to look for. But once you know that's the side that has the adhesive. The rough side is the side with the adhesive on it. Good. Labels inside tubing. Thanks, Sister So Crafty. That's what Sean was saying the same thing. That's a great idea too. Sometimes they want a stabilizer with pro mesh. I'm trying to see if we missed anything. Cheryl Green said that email was very helpful. It was very
Thank
handy.
you. I appreciate that. I don't know if you can subscribe from the link that I sent. I just shared the web preview. So I don't know if you can subscribe from looking at that. Um, so that doesn't really add you to my email list.
So the next thing we're going to talk about in my list of things on my little uh, reference packet that we have our tearaway stabilizers. We talked a little bit about that already. That's lightweight, medium weight, and heavyweight as well. And then we also
Let's talk about it because did we talk about it?
no.
We I don't know if we really talked about it today.
Which one? Tearaway?
Tearaway.
No, we didn't.
So
So
here's tearaway.
tearaway.
Tearaway. What do we use tearaway on?
So I use tearaway should be used with like super stable um
Towels.
fabric towels, because of course you don't really want a cutaway towel, the cutaway material on your towel. Also, I use it with my hats. When I make hats, I use tearaway with my hats. I generally say if it's something that I'm not going to wash outside of towels, I'll use tearaway stabilizer. And something that's more sturdy. You want it to be sturdy though. So that's what I usually use my tearaway on. So they are
So
commonly used on stable woven fabrics that don't stretch.
So, like when we did towels at Christmas time, this is one of the towels, and this has tearaway stabilizer on it. If you don't have your stabilizer labeled, it will be overwhelming because it's easy to confuse them. So, like here's my cutaway, here is my tearaway. They look they look just alike. You might even think it's butcher paper, right?
Mhm.
But with tearaway, you'll know because you can tear it. That is literally called that, like tear. You can tear it. See that? So that's tearaway. I have this linked in that email, and this was my cutaway, right? And you can't tear it because it's like thick.
Mhm. It's a lot. I want to. It's a lot. I felt like that. Like when I was first starting with embroidery, I felt overwhelmed too. Like it's just a lot of things to know so that you could be successful with it. But there's going to be trial and error. So just know that, there's going to be, when you buy, let's say if you have a shirt that you need to embroider, make sure you buy two of the shirts, because that first time, especially starting out, you may
Or
not get
three.
it the first time.
Or three.
You may not get it right the first time. That hooping is so important. And I didn't realize that when I first started, how important it is and why I was having like some problems before with certain things. That's why I just prefer to have the mighty hoops, because I don't really have to worry too much about it. Hey, Shakaturo. So again, you want to use tearaway stabilizers with stable woven fabrics that don't stretch. I use it with my hats. I always use that with hats. And I just generally think somewhere I learned like going, like if you don't wash it, use the tearaway. Like if it's something that's not going to be washed, don't, because when you're washing it, remember it's going to be going through the cycle and everything, and that could kind of mess up your stitch out. But you want to stick with, if it's a heavy material, use the heavy tearaway stabilizer because it's
Can
weighted
I
with.
can I make a suggestion?
Of course, of course.
Because I know that I know what this feels like to be overwhelmed and confused and hear all these different terms being thrown out and not have any understanding about it. I know exactly what that feels like when it comes to embroidery, when it comes to We Create, when it comes to DTF, when it comes to digitizing, when it comes to Cricut, when it comes to Romeo. I know exactly what that feels like. it can be very, 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 very overwhelming. So what might sound like something that's easy for you, like, oh, I use Digibrick and I use this and that's not helping anybody who is just getting started. That's not. The goal for today is to talk about the basics, what they are and when to use them. Because it's probably 100 different types of stabilizer. And us talking about all 100 of them is not helping anybody. It's not. It's not. So we need to stick to the basics today, which is cutaway. What is it? When do you use it? Tear away. What is it? When do you use it? Wash away. What is it? When do you use it? And anything else that would help somebody who is just getting started. But all of that extra, and I do this and I do this after I've added that's not really going to help. That's not really going to help somebody who's just getting started because they're not doing that anyway. So we need to keep it at the basics. Okay?
These are helpful. Okay, what's next? Kristen, yes, girl. Gotta get my life right. Could you use? Oh, I don't know. Oh, so another type of stabilizer we talked about, or we're going to talk about. So sticky stabilizer is like another form of tearaway stabilizer.
Okay, so we on sticky stabilizer.
Oh, we're still tearaway.
Okay, so sticky stabilizer is a type of tearaway. So we're still talking about tearaway. If you're on your notes, you might even just put a little thing at the bottom right here that's like sticky stabilizer is another type of tearaway. Okay, so don't confuse yourself thinking, oh, that's another thing. We're still in the tearaway category.
Yes.
Okay.
Tearing away.
So sticky stabilizer, we've used that before. We used that at Christmas time when we were making these. Okay. And we also use those when we were using the fast frames because it was like small.
Yep. It was not a regular, it was odd shaped. And we used
back to you, Apple.
So the sticky stabilizer, it has a backing on it. So you have the stabilizer, then it has a backing. And when you peel the backing, then you expose the adhesive part of the stabilizer. So that is where you will stick your material on top when you're hooping your fabric or shirt or whatever you're doing, and it will stick to it. Now it's not a real like, permanent type of stick, a hard stick, but it will stick to it as you're stitching. So there's you use that for certain things too.
So like here, like this is what it looks like. And once again, whatever your system is, whatever your labeling system, I did try to put the packaging in here, but that didn't work for me every time because sometimes it will fall out and I'd be like, where did it fall out from? And I didn't know. So, but anyway, sticky stabilizer, like it's a tearaway. We're still in the tearaway category, right? Like Patrice was saying, it's not much to it. And it really is what it says. It's stabilizer that's sticky. So this is a piece of it. And if I peel it back like this, if I can grab it, hold on. So it's sticky. Okay. And it'll attach, like, for example, if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to embroider, I'm making this up. I'm just doing this as an example. If I wanted to add like my initial to this side of this little pouch, I would have to have some kind of stabilizer, but I would also probably have to use one of a special frame or a special hoop because this is so little. So let me show you what I mean. So this is like a frame that has sticky stabilizer, right? And I would be putting this in here like this. Okay, so then it would stick, the stabilizer would be stuck here. So it would hold this little pouch in place so I could stitch my initial or whatever I was going to stitch on here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really meant to be temporary, and we haven't used it very often. It's like a specialty type of tear away stabilizer. So if you're taking notes and you're on tearaway, this is a type of tearaway.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. That's a good suggestion, Stacy. Little slap bands. Good suggestion. What brand of black cutaway stabilizer? Oh, what was the? Do you know the brand of that cutaway? The black cutaway stabilizer you have?
It's broke thread. I don't want to share a link. I don't love it, y'all. I don't love it. It's not. Let me say this. I just think that I'm telling you, it might be me. I don't feel like this. Like if let's just say I went to go buy some plastic cups, right? And let's say these cups came in red and they came in blue. But the red ones were great and the blue ones leaked every time, but they were the same brand, just a different color. That's how I feel. I feel like these are the same brand, but this one it just doesn't perform like this. So when I use the black one, I always cut 2 pieces to reinforce it.
Mm.
That's just what I do. And with the white, I don't feel like I need to do that. So like this, in here, there's only one piece of stabilizer. But that's stitched out so good. But now I got to put always at the top.
It seems thinner. Okay, so Kanaya said that she has the same brand. It seems thinner and not as stable.
Thank you for saying that, because now I know it's not just me. Thank you for saying that.
Not as stable. What
I don't
does
know, Kristen. I don't have any.
maybe is the lightweight for soft? I don't know. I don't know either, Kristen. Um, so we kind of talked a little bit about the tearaway stabilizers. So there's two others to talk about. Water soluble
Okay.
stabilizer. We would use water stabilizer. So water soluble stabilizer, I use that as a topper, like it goes on top of certain materials, certain fabrics. Like if you have like a velour fabric, if you have something that has high pile, meaning, let's say, I don't know if you see how this is. So you would generally put your water soluble stabilizer on top of a material like this so that your stitches don't sink into the material, because your stitches
What
will.
material is that?
This is a minky fabric. So minky, terry, velour, those types of material. Because see, like it's a higher. You see how the material looks. So when it stitches in, it's gonna stitch on top. So you guys see how I actually put water soluble on top of there so that it can actually stand out a little bit more. Now with water soluble stabilizer, when you put it on top and it stitches on top, it raises your your stitches. Okay, so that it prevents it from sinking into the material. So that's the purpose of your water soluble topper on top. And then what happens is that it dissolves in water. So you can put a little
Is
bit of
is water soluble the same thing as wash away, or is that
yes,
different?
the same. It's the
So
same. It's the same. Yep. So those are your terry cloths, your velour, anything fluffy.
we use those when we did towels.
When we did towels, yep. even with felt, you can do it. You can use it with felt too, because sometimes you can sink in, depending on how thick that material is. You want to make sure that your stitches are raised. You don't want it to sink into the material. Okay. Because when that
But
happens,
go
uh-huh.
ahead. Go ahead.
No,
So I want to make sure I'm understanding, because this goes on top, but when you're using this on top, you still have tearaway on the bottom.
tearaway
So
or
this, huh?
mhm. Tearaway or cutaway, you still have your backing stabilizer underneath.
Okay, so this is considered as something that's really just a topper.
Mm-hmm. I only use as a topper.
Okay, so I know, for example, when Miles had to embroider some sweaters, he used it on the top, the water, and we keep it in a bag.
Yes, because you want to make sure that it keeps its potency.
This is how I keep mine.
Nice.
So the reason why you keep it in a bag is because if you leave it out, it'll get hard. So Miles knows he better not ever leave this out, or he's gonna have to pay me for it, because I'm not. We don't have time. So it comes on a roll like this, and then I don't float mine, and I taught him not to float it. We always hoop it.
Okay.
Because I just feel like it's held in place better when it's hooped. And then the pieces that are left over, like if it's a piece that's still, like, he'll just put the pieces in the bag.
Okay. Because you can still use that.
Yeah. So I haven't used it on the patch. Have you?
Yeah, I've used it on patches before.
I haven't. Okay.
Depends on, like, when I'm doing like the material that I'm using. Yeah, you can use it on patches.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So the
So
next,
yeah,
okay, what are you about
we
to say?
used it on this,
Mm-hmm.
and after you can still see it's still some on there. So after you finish, you can just spray it with a water bottle, and it'll dissolve away. I didn't use it on this, but I did use it on the other towel that we embroidered, and then Miles used it when he embroidered some, like I said, some sweaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fern. I don't know. I think I shared that too in my list of my Amazon favorites. It lasts for a long time because you're not going to use it a lot. Oh, okay. So Shantae said she uses it on patches, also leather tags. If I know the leather is particularly squishy, it'll hold the stitches up. Oh, I've never embroidered on leather.
Let's get some leather and embroider on some leather.
So now there's not this is not used in place of, like, so we were when I used this, I still had the other stabilizer behind it. Let me go grab my towel. Patrice, let me go grab right quick. My bigger towel.
So we can see it. All right, y'all. Delon's gonna go get, and we have one more on our list to talk about. One more stabilizer to talk about. But if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask questions.
So we did towels a long time ago, right? And so here's my name on the towel. And when I embroidered my name on the towel, I put this on the top, because remember, it's a topper. But then on the back, I still had the tearaway. You can still see a little bit.
That looks good. We did towels a long time. What was that? Like the beginning of the summer, we did towels
Yeah.
around May. That was a while ago. Yeah. All right. So we talked about cutaway, tearaway, different types of cutaway, different types of tearaway. We talked about water soluble. They also have a stabilizer called heat away. And that particular stabilizer, that's for items that or materials that can't have water on it. So you can't put any water on it. So maybe like I guess maybe like a satin type of material or silk, maybe not satin, maybe silk. So any material that can't have like water on it, they have what you call heat away. And so you put that on the top. And what happens is that you heat it, not with steam, not with an iron or anything like that. You have to use your press to press it, and then it dissolves away. But you also have to make sure that that material can withstand the heat. But they have, it's called heat away. Which one's that? The top one?
Lady Bear said the topper confuses me. What is the topper? So this is an example of a topper.
You still have your sweatshirt hooped up?
Yeah.
Let's show her how you have the hoop on the stabilizer on the back, and then so the topper literally goes on top. So that's your backing. So the topper, she would take that water soluble stabilizer, and she would place that on top. Now there are people who don't just use toppers for minky fabrics or high pile fabrics. Some people will put toppers even on a sweatshirt.
For
So
what? Why?
they just feel like it helps they just feel like it helps it. I know a lot of people who do it. They feel like I don't do it. I'm a lazy embroiderer.
People, somebody's asking, what are you crocheting? So, Lady Bear, like, let's just say this was a sweater and not a sweatshirt. If this was a sweater, and I wanted, it was made out of like that regular like sweater material, right? Whatever the with knitting and it was like very squishy. Then I would cut a piece of this.
And
I would cut a piece that's big because I like to hoop mine. I don't like to just put it on top. That's just a personal preference. You're gonna do it how you do it. You could.
Well, the way you're telling them is a good way because that water soluble stabilizer is shifty. So once it gets underneath the machine and it starts moving, it may move away from the full design. So hooping it is best, I think.
This goes on the top. That's why it's called a topper. Right? So if I were to cut a piece of this and I would hoop it, if this was a sweater, it would be on top. And once my machine started stitching, it would be stitching right on top of this.
Yes. You're doing great.
But I was saying that if that was the case, if I was planning to use this would be in the hoop with this sweatshirt, with my cutaway. It would all be in there together. I don't like to float mine because I just feel like it doesn't hold it down good enough, even just trying to tape it. That's just my preference.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Anybody else have any more questions?
Thank you, Linda. Okay. But with the beanies, so Kristen said you used it with the beanies, but this beanie right here has a knockdown stitch behind it, or nap block or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't need it. I really didn't need I didn't need this. But if it didn't have so the other ones that I made after this, I didn't use this.
Mhm. I like to float, so I lied.
Um,
They say sometimes floating is necessary. You're gonna get it's almost like you're gonna get people who okay. So when I first started, I'm gonna talk a little bit about sublimation. Started sublimation. People started would be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do the hacks." You know, the people who have been real professionals out here in the sublimation world. They were like, you shouldn't do the hacks. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that." And at that time, I was like, "Well, I want to do the hacks. I like to do the hacks, and it's working fine for me, right?" So you have some people who like certain things and they don't like certain things. It doesn't mean it's right and it doesn't mean that it's wrong. You do what you know what's best for you. Do I like hooping my stuff better more than floating? Yeah, because I don't want to have to babysit it. I don't have to want to stand there and watch it and make sure that I don't get my finger cut by a needle because I'm trying to hold the material down because my glue isn't working right. I don't want to have to do that. But it's depending every y'all listen, all we can do is come here and tell you guys from our point of view what works for us, what doesn't work for us, how we like to do things, how we don't like to do things. But when you're home and you're working or when you're in your business, you're going to figure out what works best for you. Everything that I say may not work for you. You may say, you know what, Patrice said to do it like, but I like to do it this way. That's what I want. But we just want to encourage you to try to do it. That's basically it. Have not away. Heat dissolving topper film. Haven't used it yet. I assumed it is the same as heat away. Is it? I think it is. It sounds like it is all the way real tea group. It sounds like it is. It sounds like it's the same. It sounds like it's the same. Thank you, Tay. The verse topper is good for tiny intricate designs. Yeah, so you can use when I went to every year I go, there's somebody there that does freestanding lace at Deco Summit. So she uses that when she's doing her freestanding lace projects. I haven't done a freestanding lace project. I think Eve did a freestanding lace project not long ago, I think. But that's usually for freestanding lace. Those are very intricate, very delicate designs. And she uses it for that. The box they can't breathe. Who has machines in the box? Yep. Yep. Naomi. When you forget, because it will sink into the design. Now, I probably would have kept it on the machine and went all the way back to the first layer and put some water soluble stabilizer on it at that point and stitched right on over it. That's what I would have did. I don't like wasting the materials. But I mean, you could still use a towel, but I hate wasting material. Hate it. I did a freestanding lace joy. Shanta, she did one a few Sundays ago. Did one. It was super cool. Yes. Yeah. I've done that. Yes. But I just go back. I don't want to waste my stuff. I don't want to. So does anybody have any other questions? Delana, do we need to cover anything else about stabilizers? What do you think? Anybody have any other questions about any stabilizers? Let us know.
I really think that we just need to stick with the basics because
yes,
it's I just think it's a lot of information. It's like when you're starting something new, you don't start at the end with the information. It can easily overwhelm people.
And that,
And I think we need to stick with this is, yeah, because it's so much. And I know that, you know, we have the whole gamut of, you know, baby beginners. Like I just got a machine yesterday, and we have people who've been doing it for 25 years who know all the ins and outs. But I want everybody to be at the baby beginner stage of this is what you need to know to get started. If you wanted to embroider a shirt tomorrow, you don't need to know all that other stuff. You just need to know what stabilizer you need to get started tomorrow.
yeah. I think for what happens sometimes is that in the beginning, when you get too much information, you sometimes get discouraged, because I know a lot of the stuff that we're saying, it will make sense later. It may not make a lot of sense now. And I can only speak from my own personal experience. When I first got started, it didn't make sense to me. Cutaway stabilizer, that even that was foreign to me. Okay. So I understand, I don't want it to be overwhelming, but you also, just so that you'll know, okay, well, stabilizer is important to what you're going to be doing. If you're getting into embroidery, you will need stabilizer. That's going to be something that you're going to use for every single project that you're going to make. But you just need to know the difference between the projects and what you're going to use it for. But it can be very overwhelming, and knowing the basics, like just to get started, and then just know that you're going to continue learning. Like nobody who's doing like it, you're going to be learning forever. You're going to be learning forever. But I don't want you to get discouraged getting too much information, because you're like, oh, I don't have time for this now. But you already bought your machine because you wanted to do it. So it's okay to take it a little slower. It's okay.
Um, Lady Bear asked,
Oh,
when embroidering on something, what did she say? I can go back. She said, when embroidering on, hey, ATB, heat and bond, any suggestions on how to keep the thread from breaking? If your thread is breaking, it might be too tight.
when embroidering on heat and bond, you're embroidering on heat and bond.
How I don't know what you mean. You're embroidering on heat and bond.
What are you making a patch? Are you making, if you're making a patch, then you shouldn't have any heat and bond on your material until after you're done stitching. Let us know, Stacy. Hey, ATV.
I
Wanda,
got
we don't want you to be overwhelmed. It's,
no.
listen, take baby steps. It's okay. Listen, if you take all, if the only thing you take from this today is that I need stabilizer, or the only thing you take from this today is that I need cutaway stabilizer because I want to make me a shirt. Don't even think about any of the other stabilizers, because you're going to use cutaway stabilizer the most, especially if you're going to be doing garments. Okay. Just think of the cutaway stabilizers. So you know you just need 3 different types, and you may not, just go with the medium weight stabilizer. That's it. The medium cutaway, the 2.5 ounce. That's all you worry about right now, and that's all until you're ready to move to something else. But take baby steps. It's okay. Take baby steps. Do not feel like you have to go and get all of this stabilizer. Nobody should be going on Amazon right now getting all of the stabilizer that we talked about.
But you
Nobody
don't
should
know when to use it.
Nobody should be doing that. I'm just gonna say that, okay? Nobody should be doing that.
So somebody asked embroidery on. So somebody Annette said embroidery on heat and bond light. So Patrice, when you're doing applique or whatever, do you only use the one in the red pack, or do you use purple pack, or what do you do?
So I'm gonna tell you guys the right thing to do. Use the one in the purple pack if you're gonna be doing your applique. Now, do I use the one in the purple bag? Uh, I use whatever is closer to. Okay, I would suggest using the one in the purple pack if you're doing applique. So, and it shouldn't give you a problem.
So somebody else asked, is applique and a patch the same thing? So this is an example of applique. So this is one that's filled in with fabric. So I took some fabric and after I did, so this consists of different stitches, right? The first, we're not really gonna get too much into this because we've already done a video on this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to know is that I use cutaway stabilizer on this sweatshirt. I use cutaway stabilizer. Put the first stitch down, I put the fabric down, and then the embroidery machine did all the rest of the stitching. This is called applique because I could have used glitter, I could have used whatever here. This is a patch. These are patches that are on my jacket. And these all have cutaway stabilizer on them. It's cutaway stabilizer. These are patches.
So there's a difference.
This is applique that's not filled in. So instead of putting the letters or putting fabric or glitter or anything else, I didn't. I just didn't fill it in at all. So this is the one that's believe in God. This one is trust in God. And then there are others, faith in God, joy in God.
ATV's asking if you sell.
The files, they're in my Etsy shop and on my website.
Are you asking about the files or are you asking about the patches? Because if you're asking about the patches, Craft It Swag sells the patches.
So Renee said for the patches, also for the red bag, for because you
Got the red bag. So she has the.
I used the red one when I put the fabric on when I was pressing it with my heat press.
Mm-hmm. Liz Soaps and More is asking about the website for the patches.
You can just have to contact him by email. It's crap.
Oh,
Sweat.
ATV's asking about the finished hoodie. Like if you sell the finished hoodie.
Miles can do it, but I don't do it. Do we need to talk about Tender Touch, or do you always use that? Because I don't know if this is considered as stabilizer. It's an after thing.
It's after. Yeah, it's like a stabilizer cover. And that's usually good. Like if you're selling garments and things like that, then I think it's important, especially if you're selling like kids items.
What is wash away? It's a topper.
I use water soluble.
Water soluble. Is that you? I thought you said it was the same.
It's the same thing, but let's.
So what water soluble? That's what that's actually what I have. I don't. I used it on top of this. So let me.
Do you have wash away? I think you have wash away.
I have whatever's in that bag. Let me hoop a piece so I can show you what I'm talking about.
Thing.
This is water soluble. But let me get a hoop.
Lace angels. Katina says she does wash away to create her lace angels.
Okay, so here's a 5x5. I don't even know why do they call this 5x5. It's really not.
It's 5.5.
I don't know why they call it that, but anyway. So let's just say I was getting ready to embroider on a towel, right? This towel right here. Even though I've already embroidered on this towel, right? Let's just say I wanted to put a design on this side. Can we get a piece of tearaway? Tearaway. Get a piece of tearaway. I'm going to cut it. And I would just need a piece that's big enough to cover the hoop. All right, so I just need a piece that's big enough for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't, all of this extra right here, I would cut that off because I don't really need that on my hoop. So I really wouldn't even be using this 15-inch whatever. So there's my bottom, the bottom of the hoop. I will put the towel on the hoop wherever I'm planning to add the design. It's getting ready to be crooked because the goal is just to show you how to use this stuff.
Exactly.
So I will cut a piece of this big enough to go over the top. The top. Remember, this is it goes on top. Cut a piece big enough to go on the top. I like to hoop mine. Some people like to float theirs. Floating means you're just not putting it in the hoop. So if somebody says, I'm floating it, that means they're just not including it in the hoop. They're just going to put it on top of the hoop. I don't do that with mine because I need it to stay in place. So let's look at it again. I have the hoop. Then I have the stabilizer. This is tearaway. See, I can tear it. It's tearaway. Then I have the towel. I'm going to put it on there. It's going to be straight, right? We're pretending that it's perfect and great, right? Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I would put this on top. It's like a little sandwich. This will be the lettuce. Okay? This is the lettuce. This is the lettuce. Okay? And then this will be the top. I got to put it down so I don't want to hoop my fingers because I don't have time for that. See that? So I have stabilizer, towel, topper, and then the top hoop. So whatever my design is, it's going to be stitched right on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Now, I personally, I don't use this with my shirts. I don't. Patrice said that there are people who do. There might be professionals and experts who would say, Delonda, even if you're making a shirt, still use it. I will say, okay, and I won't. Okay? Because I'm going to do it how I do it. And you're going to do how you do it. And our goal today is to show you how we do it. Okay? So that's it. So I would use this if I was embroidering on a towel. So if I'm taking notes, I would write that down. I would use a topper, a water-soluble topper or water-soluble stabilizer with a towel. I have taught Miles when he is embroidering on sweaters because he had to make 7 sweaters with a left chest logo. I told him to use this on every sweater. Okay, so he does. When he's making a sweater, he's putting this on top.
Nice. Yeah, if you wear it, don't tear it. It's the same.
This one, it says 5 by 5, but it's really not.
No.
Like if you look right here, it says 5 by 5, but that's that's really the outside. Your concern is what is on the inside, and you'll really only know that by going to the website, because that gives you the exact sizing of what is the inside.
For your, and then for your machine, because it's different each machine.
So you want to embroider some. I think it depends on what the material is. The beach bag. Y'all, I'm visual, so people can't just tell me stuff. I have to see it, and because I know I'm like that, I don't care about it. I have to show it too.
Thank you. Tay says she's a visual person too, so thank you for the step by step. It's cutting yarn.
I don't know.
I would probably do a stable. I would just do cutaway. I think because if it's beach bags, I have to wash my beach bags because it's gonna be dirty out there in that sand and dirt and everything. I would use a cutaway.
So I did. It's crafted swag at.
Yep. Yes, Kristen. Anytime you have high pile, you want to use your water soluble.
All of my like beach bag, pool bag type of stuff is like it's already mesh.
It's gonna be like a cotton.
The only one we didn't really talk about, Patrice, is the the fusible, the poly mesh.
The poly mesh. We can talk about poly mesh. We just very little. A type of cutaway.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to cutaway. I'm trying to think of other things that I've embroidered. So fusible, there's fusible poly mesh, and then there's just regular poly mesh. Let's go back to cutaway. Let's go back to, let me get a piece of paper.
That's the regular, and the fusible has like it feels rough, kind of like the tender touch, and then the one that's not fusible, it just feels the same front and back.
And think about what you know about infusible ink, right? That means you can heat it to apply it to your garments. But let's go back to a document, right? So we're back on cutaway because I don't have a lot of space down here. Or if you have a lot of space, then add it down here, right? But this is like, I would call this like a specialty cutaway. And don't worry about how I write. Worry about how you write.
That's how you wrote it.
Specialty.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I have some poly mesh. And I have used this. I like it because it's thin. And but now when I use this, I do use 2 pieces of it. I have used this. And I probably shouldn't have, so I'm just telling on myself. I have used this on sweatshirts, and people might say, well, you're not supposed to use that on, sweatshirt. You should be using that on baby stuff. Or I'm telling you what I've done. Okay. I have used this on, I have made a sweatshirt with this poly mesh. It just says poly mesh. But maybe I need to look it up and see. Like, have you used this? What do you use it on?
I'll use it on shirts. I use it on like my polo shirts too. I use it on different things. Do you iron yours on before? Like when you hoop it, do you just heat it up? Or
this one is not the fusible kind. It's just poly mesh that I just hoop it.
Poly mesh.
So, but there is one that is fusible like this. So, but let's still talk about this one. Let's do one at a time. So, right, specialty. So I'm going to call it poly mesh. Used for. So Patrice says she uses hers for t-shirts. What else did you say?
My polo shirts.
Polo shirts. You could just
Yeah.
say shirts, right?
I've used
Whatever.
it for a wide variety of things. I use it for.
Oh,
Yes. It helps to provide stability.
okay. So Chris says I iron fusible poly mesh directly onto stretchable fabrics behind the embroidery space before hooping with cutaway. So you use both.
Yeah.
So Chris, you use both.
Yes. And so it kind of covers it like the almost kind of similar to how the tender touch, but except you're stitching through it too.
Okay, so because right, so use for with, I might say with cutaway
Mm-hmm.
on stretchy fabrics. Now maybe I haven't had to do that because I don't have any stretchy fabrics. I don't have any stretchy fabrics, but if y'all do stretchy fabrics,
Yep, it prevents it from puckering and stretching.
okay, I wasn't even showing anything, okay, but this one
No.
is not fusible, it's just poly mesh. I do have the fusible. um this one says fusible iron on cutaway. I haven't used it yet, but one side of it is like, you could tell that there's an adhesive here. I just haven't used it. I have not used this one.
No.
Still very new.
I'm gonna use it when one's so good. Do it.
I think that's a lot. I think that's enough for today.
I think it's. I mean, I think it was good information. I think, but it is so good. So we
But
kind of
what
come.
I okay,
Uh-huh. No, you go ahead. I'm good.
I was just gonna say what I want them to take away from today is the different types of stabilizer and what they can be used for.
Mhm.
If there's something that we haven't discussed, that doesn't mean it's not important. That doesn't mean it's not good to know. That doesn't mean that you won't need to know it later. Our
Mhm.
goal today was to talk about the basics of stabilizer. What are the basics if you want to get started with embroidering a shirt or a sweatshirt? That's what both of us do a lot of, shirts and sweatshirts. And what we use when we're doing a shirt or a sweatshirt is cutaway stabilizer. Okay, so that's the basics. When I'm using regular white cutaway stabilizer, mine is either 2.5 ounces or it's 3 ounces. So if you're not using the links that we've provided and you're going to go look on your own, look for 2.5 or 3 ounces. Okay, so that's that. If you're not making a shirt, let's just say you want to make a beanie or a hat or a towel or something else, then you will be using tearaway. Okay, so tearaway, remember, you're going to tear it away, and it's less permanent than cutaway, right? Because you don't really use it on things you're gonna be wearing all the time. So like this is, see this no part of this is, you know what I mean? It's not touching my head, not touching my hair. Okay, does that make sense? Tearaway. I say I use tearaway. But also because this is considered as what? Stretchy fabric, right? This has a what? What does this have?
Stretch, a pull,
What do we need to do to it?
stabilize it. With
What do we have to have in addition to the tearaway
What do we have
and
to have?
stretch. Come on, come on. Y'all getting there? What do we have to have? There's something else.
The nap blocker.
Topper. You need a topper, right? Yes.
Get my
There
topper.
you go. There you go. See, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Right? So, but if I was doing like a hat like this, I don't need a topper, but I still need tearaway, right? So this is not stretchy, right? It's hard, right? Got it. Y'all look at y'all.
They thought it.
Y'all got it. So I still did use a stabilizer, but I didn't need a topper because it's not this. Okay. All right. So we talked about cutaway. There's different weight. We talked about tearaway, right? It's not permanent, right? We talked about toppers.
Talk about toppers.
When to use a topper, right? A topper does what it says. It goes on top.
Yep.
And we talked about specialty cutaway, like poly mesh. Those are the basics of stabilizer. It really, those, that's what you need to get started. All the other stuff will come. All of the other stuff will come.
Yep. Shay, thank you for gifting a member.
Go on, Shay, you have your gifted membership.
Thank you, Shay. Yeah, we got it. I think we did pretty good. It was a lot of information, but you take the information that you need and apply it. And then when you need the other information, you come back to it. Make sure you join us over on Facebook. But like Delonda said, we talked about quite a few things. One thing to just remember, if you wear it, you're going to want to use a cutaway stabilizer. If it's something you're going to be washing, cutaway. Like that's what makes me like, oh, if I'm going to wear it, I'm going to do it. Except a hat. You could use your tearaway with the hat, but with anything else, you want to use cutaway when you're going to wear it. So we did a lot of things like knit and fleece, and any stretchy material required the heavier cutaway stabilizers. Remember
a question about patches, Patrice. I think they were asking, do you still need to use stabilizer with patches?
Yes. You're going to use, anytime you're hooking up your embroidery machine, there's only one person that I know that doesn't use stabilizer when they're doing embroidery or stitching out. His name is Danny Weird, and he does like a lot of different things with, that's his name on thing. And he does a lot of different things with his embroidery machine. Outside of that, most everybody else will require stabilizer for embroidery. So even with your patches, you're going to use, and I use cutaway stabilizer when I'm doing my patches too. So cutaway and the felt, that's what I use, cutaway, felt, or twill.
So all of my patches that are on the back are stitched directly onto my jacket. And so I still have stabilizer.
Remember that stabilizer is providing support. Another thing that I want you guys to remember, dent embroidery designs, and when I say dents, that means there's a lot of stitches. Okay, so that's a lot of stitches, a lot of poking. They require heavier stabilizer. So no matter what you're doing, you're going to need stabilizer. Okay, you're gonna need stabilizer.
So Barb says she doesn't follow that. If you wear it, don't tear it, because, and you know what, I'm going to say I agree, because the rules don't apply to everything, right? They're gonna, you're gonna learn as you go. That's a general rule. That's just like saying, oh, sublimation can only be done on white. Well, except when, you know what I mean?
Do a hack, yeah. I just feel like if you're gonna wash it, you do need a little bit of extra support because it can distort it a little bit. But definitely everything, there's certain times. Look at Delonda's beanie cap. She could throw that into the washer. Like that's something that could be, that could be washed, and she didn't use cutaway stabilizer with it. So that's true. Exactly.
Okay, y'all
Well,
have any other questions about stabilizer?
I think we did pretty good. Also, don't forget, Delonda showed label your stabilizer for easy identification. And you want to put the weight of the stabilizer too, so you'll always remember, because I can't tell by just looking at it. You could feel it out, but it's not always that easy. And remember to hoop your items properly. Hoop
Miss
your
Joyce, Patrice talked about that a little bit in terms of density. She was talking about something that she stitched that was like 100,000 stitches. I don't know.
Yeah, remember the density. So you're gonna know your density before you even put it on your machine, put your design on your machine, because guess what? It's gonna tell you how many stitches you're gonna need. So the density is the amount of stitches that you will be using, that you will be stitching out. So that's what you look at. You look at if you have a design and it says that it's gonna be, a whole lot of stitches, then you know what type of stabilizer you need to use. That's what will tell you, Miss Joyce.
Naomi got her cinch yesterday. So Barb said, test your stabilizer and have fun experimenting.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that's important too. And I think I did. So now here's a beginner thing that I didn't know. I didn't know to test the stabilizer. And I assumed, and y'all know what people say when you assume, right? I assumed that since this black stabilizer and this white stabilizer were the same name brand and had the same weight, that they would be the same. And I didn't realize it until after I had already added this to my because I was embroidering a black sweatshirt. I didn't realize it that until after that it was thin, that it wasn't as good as I wanted. So I do double when I'm using the black one, I do double it. But I don't double this one because I feel like it's thick enough. Sophia, that's a great question.
Yes, too.
If y'all have not joined our Facebook group, we have a Facebook group that's dedicated specifically to embroidery, not embroidery machines, but just sharing what we know about embroidery, learning from each other. We have a lot of experts in the Facebook group, but the group is called So Good Stitches. It is really dedicated to embroidery. So we're not going to be doing any printer questions, any sublimation questions, any Cricut questions, nothing that is not related to embroidery, no matter what embroidery machine you have. All right. So did we accomplish our goal?
I think we accomplished our goal. We talked about stabilizers. We did.
To learn about different types of stabilizers, what to use, and when to use it. Thank you.
We did.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
If you have not remember, if you didn't remember to like the video on your way in, but you did find this helpful, please remember to like it on your way out.
Yes. And don't forget, next week we will be over at Delonda's at Crafting with Delonda. Make sure you head over there if you are not already over there and subscribed. Make sure you head over there and subscribe and turn on the notifications, because we will be going live again next week. Next week is going to be a busy weekend, though, isn't it?
Yes. But so I mean I'm gonna have to do evening.
It'll be on Saturday night, Saturday evening.
Yeah, Saturday evening. Yeah, Saturday, that'd be great. Or Sunday evening, but then we'll be in a rush.
Yeah. So Saturday will be fine. Saturday will work. All right.
Thank you guys.
Helpful. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Evie will be on in a few hours at 9 p.m.
Look at us finishing before 2 hours, Patrice.
I know that was my goal. We
This
did
is
it.
great.
It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. All right, y'all. Until next time, we love y'all. Don't forget to head over to Facebook and join the So Good Stitches Facebook group. Later, y'all.